SU head coach Jim Boeheim is already known for his superior ability to recruit the nation's top players. But now armed with the Carmelo K. Anthony Basketball Center, the Orange expect to win a lot more recruiting battles. After the Orange's win over Long Beach State, senior guard Brandon Trish pointed to rebounding, an area the team has struggled in the past. He said it's the work the team does here in the Mello Center that makes all the difference. But right now, the Orange is coming off its biggest victory of the season over previously undefeated Louisville. The win brought the Orange to 5-5, who only need one more W to become bowl eligible. But that one win won't come easily. Now that winter is starting to set in here in central New York, the SU men's crew team have taken their boats off the water here at Onondaga Lake and moved to indoor workouts. Although their competition in other parts of the country aren't affected by this weather change, the Orange point to their work inside as a key to their success. Fourth-ranked SU Hoops returns to the Carrier Dome tomorrow night to take on Long Beach State. The Orange is 6-0 after topping Eastern Michigan 84-48 Monday night. And while most Orange fans are riding high with the Hoops team, SU has at least one very outspoken critic. Even though SU beat Eastern Michigan by 36 points, head coach Jim Boeheim has yet to be impressed. He says this year's Orange squad is good, but they have a long way to go if they want to be great. Staying in the city, the Knicks look to keep their winning streak alive with a trip to Charlotte tonight. New York has won 3 straight following its overtime loss to Brooklyn. SU basketball may be continuing their climb in the rankings. Following their victory over San Diego State on Sunday, the Orange moved up in both the AP and USA Today polls to number 8 in the country. And with key losses last night, Syracuse is in position to keep rising in the rankings. Coach Barnello's ties to Salve go back much further than the 28 years he's coached here. Barnello actually played basketball for Salve and was even the recipient of the respected Earl Hadley Award. Rutgers has filed a lawsuit against the Big East to avoid its $10 million buyout fee and 27-month waiting period before it can leave for the Big Ten. The school says that the exit fee arbitrarily applies to some, but not all. Progress is slow and barely steady in negotiations between the National Hockey League and its Players Association. Both sides sat at the bargaining table in New York for almost 10 hours before continuing discussions this morning. With the fall season in the books, the Syracuse University men's rowing team has already seen success, winning the Syracuse Invitational over both Cornell and Hobart in November. But that's just the start of the work for the Orange. Coming off a huge 5th-place finish at the IRA National Championship Regatta last season, the bar has been raised for Syracuse crew, and the work to get back to that level is just beginning. Now that winter is starting to set in here in central New York, the SU men's crew team have taken their boats off the water here at Onondaga Lake and moved to indoor workouts. Although their competition in other parts of the country aren't affected by this weather change, the Orange point to their work inside as a key to their success.
Oh, incredibly important. That's where seasons are won and lost. Like, everybody comes into the fall and they might be in shape, you might not be in shape, but once you come back for the winter training, the time you put in there is what sort of translates to speed in the spring, and so it's actually the most important time.
Extremely important. I mean, it's often said the races aren't won in the spring; they're won in the winter, and it's all about the fitness and the time you put in.
This year is the first time that freshmen have been allowed into the varsity boat. The team has now doubled in size with the added underclassmen, some of whom hope to make an impact on the top boats. Although the team has a lot of young talent, leadership from upperclassmen is essential.
I think it's crucial that the juniors and seniors show how we have been shown how to perform in the past years so they can learn from us and adapt to that.
The Orange believe this year's team can go just as far as last year's top 5 finish at the national championship, if not do even better. It's something that senior Angus Jackson attributes to their team bond and chemistry.
I think we're closer than other teams. I think we have a real bond of friendship that other teams don't get. Other teams are always competing within each other and still competing with each other, but it's as friends, it's not as enemies.
One obstacle that the Orange will be facing is their size. When matched up against some of the nation's biggest crews like Harvard, Washington, and Cal, Syracuse will have to be at their best to compete with their power.
Probably a smaller team in terms of actual size, so we have a lot of technique guys, but not a lot of power.
But while rowing is one part strength, it's also one part fitness and technique, something senior Kyle Rogers thinks puts this year's boat above the competition.
I've been here 4 years, and this is the hardest working team that I've been on out of the 4 years, and I think that that's going to pay dividends.
The quest for those dividends begins on March 30th when the Orange take on Georgetown and Princeton in New Jersey. Syracuse will have 5 races in the spring, all leading up to another shot at a top 5 finish at the national championship in June. It's a race that has this team anxious to prove it can compete with the best in the country for the 2nd year in a row. In Syracuse, I'm Tim Killian, NCC News. Basketball season is finally upon us, with many high school teams in Central New York beginning tryouts this week. I visited the Solvay High School basketball tryouts, whose coach has dedicated more than just work from the sidelines for Solvay. With another fresh season upon us, Solvay basketball opened tryouts on Monday. Although each year the Bearcats squad changes, one thing always seems to be the same: head coach Joe Barnello. While teaching English and journalism, he has coached at Solvay High for the last 28 years. Coach Barnello's ties to Solvay go back much further than the 28 years he's coached here. Barnello actually played basketball for Solvay and was even the recipient of the respected Earl Hadley Award.
And so it's really a sportsmanship award, but it's a nice honor. It's a real nice honor.
Barnello's father actually played for the legendary coach, who was benched in one of his last games for fooling around in practice, even though he was a great player.
Solvay lost 2-1, lost a championship. And all Hadley said was, I hope we all learned a lesson today about what's expected of our leaders.
Like Hadley, Barnello doesn't base success on a team's record.
I just keep it in perspective. It's basketball. As long as my kids are working as hard as they possibly can to be the best they possibly can be, I'm happy with that.
His teams have faced challenges, but Barnello says he's always positive through a loss.
I try to tell my kids when things are going bad, just remember when you were a little kid and you were out in the driveway shooting by yourself. That's, go back to that time. And why were you out in the driveway? Because you loved it.
His attitude is rubbed off on his senior leaders, who say they've learned more than just playing basketball from their coach.
I love playing for Mr. Barnello because I don't know, he sees like the real person in you. At times it can be very helpful if you're struggling a little bit, but he stays on you to help you work hard and play good to your best ability. He looks out for the kids, and some coaches will just look out for the game and the W's and all the wins and stuff like that, and Mr. Barnello's always out for the kids.
Barnello's most memorable moment from nearly 3 decades of coaching was not about any victory. It was when an opposing coach approached him before a game and told him he planned on playing his team manager, who was a special needs student who always dreamed of playing high school basketball.
I explained the situation, and my kids, they gave him space. Well, he took like 2 45-footers. And it had nothing to do with my kids. He made them both 3-pointers. After the game, we were shaking hands. See, this kid comes through the line, he's crying, he's in tears, and then he hugs me and thanks me. And I'm thinking, wow, good for him.
Both in the classroom and on the court, Barnello is a mainstay in Solvay. At the end of the day, it always comes back to the kids for Coach Barnello.
It's been nothing but rewarding. It's been, I just been really blessed to get to know the kids on a whole different level than you get to know them in the classroom.
Coach Barnello has just over 2 weeks to trim down his roster and gear up for the regular season. The Bearcats season opens on December 4th on the road against Bishop Grimes.